Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So let's get on to our today's movie summary. The opening text reads that, over 400,000 British and French soldiers were left stranded at Dunkirk during World War II, either waiting for a miraculous rescue or dying. 6 British soldiers are making their way through the desolate Dunkirk streets. They are being shot at by unseen German soldiers as they search abandoned houses for food, supplies, and water. Except for Tommy, 5 of the men are killed. He makes it to the beach after escaping the gunfire, where thousands of British soldiers are waiting to be evacuated, and a few hundred soldiers are lying dead all over the beach. When Tommy sees Gibson, a young soldier, burying another soldier in the sand, he tries to find a place to relieve himself. Tommy approaches to assist him. As German Stuka Ju-87 dive bombers fly overhead and begin dropping bombs, Tommy prepares to go down, but the bombs miss him, and a lot of men are either wounded or killed. Tommy discovers a dead soldier who has been wounded. He and Gibson pretend to be medical personnel in order to transport on the ship so that they can be evacuated. They pass a group of French soldiers who are trying to board, but according to orders, are denied entry. Despite being unable to board the boat with a wounded soldier they were carrying, Tommy and Gibson manage to hide by the mole until the next vessel arrives. They save a soldier by rescuing Alex, but the boat they were attempting to board is destroyed by German aircraft. Meanwhile, Colonel Winant and Royal Navy Commander Bolton are negotiating the soldiers' safe return and rescue from the docks. They decide to bring them back by boat, but the mole is the only way they can get to the destroyers. Tommy, Gibson, and Alex gather on another British Red Cross vessel. They receive some water and food. Alex runs into Tommy and notices Gibson walking around with an uneasy appearance. The boat is struck by a torpedo, and the lower decks begin to flood with water. Gibson escapes the ship and manages to open the hatch, allowing Tommy, Alex, and few other men to escape safely as the ship sinks. They return to the shore on a skiff. The remaining British soldiers return to the beach and join a small group of Scottish soldiers on their way to a boat in the tide. The British soldiers hide there, but because they are technically on German land, German soldiers who use the boat as a target practice target them right away. Water begins to leak from the bullet holes. Alex goes so far as to accuse Gibson of being a German spy, because he hasn't spoken the whole time, possibly to cover up his accent. He suggests that they throw Gibson out to lighten the load. Gibson reveals for the first time that he is French, and that he took the uniform and tags off another soldier, the one he was burying, so that he could be evacuated. After making its way out of Dunkirk, the boat begins to sink. The soldiers make it out, while Gibson gets entangled in something and drowns. In an effort to rescue the soldiers trapped at Dunkirk, the Royal Navy begins taking control of private boats. Instead of allowing naval officers to take control of the ship themselves, a mariner by the name of Mr. Dawson takes his own ship, with his teenage son Peter. George, their young helper, joins the two of them, and reassures Mr. Dawson that he can be of use to them. A British ship that has sunk passes by the boat. In the water, they find a shell-shocked soldier. The soldier does not respond when Mr. Dawson asks for his name. The soldier knocks the tea out of George's hand as he tries to help him with it. The soldier desperately tries to take control of the boat from Mr. Dawson, after learning from him that they are going to Dunkirk. During the subsequent struggle, George hits his head hard when he falls to the bottom of the boat. While the soldier stops and remains silent, Peter goes to tend to his wounds. George begins to lose his vision over time. Peter tells his father, but Mr. Dawson tells him that they've come too far to need help. In order to provide the troops with air support, 3 Spitfire pilots fly above the water. Along with pilots Ferrier and Collins, the squadron leader spots Me-109 German fighter aircraft in the sky and pursues them. Ferrier and Collins are left alone after the squadron leader is shot down by one of the Germans. Ferrier's fuel gauge is broken, so he tries his best to save fuel and take down the enemy aircraft. Collins descends to the water after his plane is shot down. He tries to get out of his cockpit, but the cockpit is jammed and filled with water as he almost drowns. Peter frees Collins because the boat carrying his father was able to reach him in time. Collins is brought on board. We learn from his subsequent conversation with Mr. Dawson that Peter's older brother was a pilot in the RAF and passed away in the early days of the war. At this point, everyone gathers on the water. In order to save the soldiers, additional private British boats arrive on the water. After spotting a minesweeper, the soldiers move toward it until one of the German bomber hits it. As the soldiers swim by it, oil fills the water, and covers them before it ignites, killing several men. Farrier shoots down the attacking German Do-17 bomber, as he runs out of fuel, and tries to land safely on the beach. In the meantime, Peter, Collins, and the shivering soldier pulls as many men, along with Alex and Tommy, to the boat. Alex informs the Dawsons that George has passed away. The anonymous shell-shocked soldier is unaware that George is dead, asks Peter, "Will he be fine?" Peter tells a lie and says he will. After eliminating another German bomber, before it could eliminate the mole, Farrier slowly lands his plane by the shore. He sets his plane on fire, and is soon captured by German soldiers. Following the rescue, the Dawsons return to their homes. In order to honor George as a hero, Peter obtains a photograph of the boy, and submits it to the local newspaper. After only planning to rescue 30,000 men, Bolton and Winant claim to have saved 338,000 men. Bolton remains to ensure that the French can flee. He sees Winant and the last British army departing. A train takes the British soldiers home to England. When they return from this defeat, Alex believes they will be treated with scorn. He asks Tommy to read a newspaper with a message from Winston Churchill about the evacuation because he cannot read it. Alex receives 2 beers from a man, who approaches the window as Tommy reads it, while he enters the station. Other people welcome the soldiers back with applause. Tommy finishes reading Churchill's statement, which praises the soldiers' bravery and efforts, as well as their miraculous escape. The quote, on the other hand, goes on to remind the public that evacuations alone do not win wars, but ends with a vow to never surrender.